have you. I should preface this by saying Ben and I don't usually do these interviews together, so this could go anywhere.
Oh, good.
They usually don't let me, but I insisted on this one because I like to consider myself the world's biggest talk fan. So, although I have to say, X has now surpassed it as my favorite Martin Henderson movie.
Oh, yay! Thanks, Ben. Well, I don't know. Thanks for liking them both.
They're both great films. Like there's no time where if either of them appeared on TV would I not watch them.
Sit down and watch them. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you guys X.
Yeah, he's not blowing smoke up your ass. He actually means that. But let's talk about X, because I want to start by saying straight out, it's obvious that there are influences here at play, Texas Chainsaw Massacre being a huge one. Did you immerse yourself in grindhouse cinema to sort of prepare or get a sense of this genre?
Yeah, I mean, some of these, older movies, obviously, I'd watched way back in my fledgling years as an actor, sort of taking interest in cinema. So it was a real treat to be ushered into that era of filmmaking again, and talking with Ty when I first got the film, and I really wanted to understand his vision for it, because on the page you don't really, the cinematic language and the style and the tone and the feeling, it's hard to write that stuff in a script. You get the character and you get the plot and whatnot, but it wasn't until speaking to Ty about how he was going to shoot it that I sort of started getting really excited. Like, oh, we're going to be in. I mean, the script was cool and it was original and it was different. And it was funny and it was titillating and it was scary and all that. So I knew it was going to be a good movie. But I think hearing his love of cinema and the way he wanted the movie to be a bit of a love letter to the bygone era of when movies were crafted in a way that is exciting, and to bring that back now, when we were sort of joking, like most porn now is it's all shot on an iPhone or Samsung or whatever, and it's and horror movies even that end up in the cinema, they're not treated with the same cinematic reverence and style. So that was definitely a big draw card to doing this, was that we've made a movie that's it's impressive in that regard, and it's really reestablished Ty as a true filmmaker.
Absolutely. And Ben gets all of his porn through his phone, so he was really happy to see this on a big screen.
That's weird. I get all of my porn through Ben's phone too, which is
that VPN is just not doing its job.
I mean, you got to condense those files though, Ben. It's just taking me forever to download. My data's just getting doomed.
That's why we call him. That's why we call him Buffer Ben.
Yeah. That's it. I only need 2 pixels. 2 pixels will get the job.
Did the original script, does the completed film reflect the original script, or is there a lot of changes that happened along the way?
Not a great deal at all. In fact, that was one of the things that impressed me. Was not that it wasn't evident talking to Ty on set, but certainly when I watched the movie, everything that he wrote was specific in the way in which he was building the tension and just the pacing, and every shot was thought out. And and oftentimes it's not. You get on a set and the scene obviously has been written. You all know what you're going to say and do. And then the cinematographer might come up with a shot, and the director might go, okay, well then in that case, let's do it on the picnic table, or let's run down the beach, and you're sort of making it up as you go along. But with Ty, given that he was the writer, obviously, as well as the director, his vision was so singular and so clear, and that was extremely evident when I finally sat down and watched the movie, that everything was thought out in advance, and that was really impressive. And at first, that's actually quite challenging as an actor, because depending on how you work, I love to get on set and, let's try this, or let's try that, let's try it this way, and see what's more fun or more interesting or more effective. But Ty was like, nope, it's going to be like this. and this is how we're going to do it. And at first that feels a bit restrictive, like you've got some handcuffs on, and takes a bit of getting used to. But having worked with Gore Verbinski on The Ring, I kind of quickly realized, like, oh, okay, I see what Ty's doing here. Everything's so thought out because he has such a clear idea of how every single moment is going to build to the next, whether it's a jump scare or a bit of comic relief or a jump cut, or, it's all in his head in a way. But that does require quite a bit of trust as an actor, because you're not necessarily given the same leeway as you might on a drama.
Yeah, right. And on that, like, as you mentioned, The Ring, this isn't your first jump into the horror pool, as well as, you did Strangers too. And this is a huge kind of departure from things like Virgin River, which you do. Is there a palpable difference in terms of acting? What does horror require of you that other genres don't?
Well, I think Gore, yeah, it's a really good question. And it's interesting, like, The Ring was one of the first movies I ever did in America. And I remember early on, in rehearsals, before we even were on set, and Naomi and myself and Gore were sitting around talking about the script. And what he imparted to it, he said, look, I don't want you guys to ever think that you're acting in a horror movie. He said, leave that to me. I'm making a horror movie. You're just playing characters that are finding videotapes or, hearing something strange in your base, whatever it is. So just play the reality of that. I'll create the atmosphere and the tone and the suspense, and I'll disorient the audience with a camera angle or a sound design like that. So he very much impressed on us. We had to play it straight, if you will. And I think that was really good advice. And so in a way, no, I think the trick is to play it like it's real life. Although in X, you've got the extra challenge because it's so sort of ridiculous and absurd and heightened and comedic. The movie's very funny often, and the characters are rather larger than life at times. And I think that's probably more of the challenge, is how to walk the line between making it grounded and real, but also light and funny. That's quite hard.
Were you ever worried? Oh, you go ahead, Ben.
Sorry. I am really curious though, when you get the script and you read through it the first time, do you ever get like kill jealous, where you see how other characters are gonna meet their end and stuff, and you're like, oh, I wouldn't mind. And then the reverse of that is when you actually see the torture that they're put through when that stuff is happening to them. You're like, maybe I'm glad. Maybe I'm glad I didn't, get killed by the crocodile, or not to spoil anything, or
Totally, yeah. I'm trying to answer that without ruining the movie for anyone. But personally, I really loved. I've had some good kills. Yeah, when I think about The Ring, that was just warped and freaky and cool. Strangers that was pretty gruesome. And I really liked what happens in this. I don't want to say anything, but I really like what happens in X. But funnily enough, when we were at South by Southwest promoting the movie the other week, I can't remember whether it was, I think it might have been Scott, did express that he was a little disappointed that his demise was so sort of abrupt and conventional. And I had never thought about it, but he obviously did have a little bit of kill envy, as you say.
I have to say that, like, the scene, not the scene where you step on the nail in the film, that has to be one of the most visceral moments of cinema I've ever seen. Like, the entire audience, like, Ty telegraphs it, it's coming, and just everyone in the audience just, oh no, like,
totally. I know. You're right. It's one of those, and again, Ty, Ty, he just knows what he's doing, man. And I remember that took a long time to shoot that little sequence. And I just wanted to get to the part where I was, waxing lyrical and doing my bit. And then, of course, looking through the hole and that whole bit, I was really excited about that. This friggin' thing with the nail. And I mean, you would have no idea the amount of attempts that we had to do, because the nail had to do a certain thing, and then the piece of wood that the nail was on had to stick to my foot, but I had to walk across the straw ground, so my foot wouldn't stick. Oh, it was just took forever. And I remember thinking, oh, come on, it's a stupid little gag. But I've watched the movie 3 times, and every time when that camera just booms down and you see that nail, you just feel the whole cinema going, oh no, don't do that to me.
And you do it in your job.
I want to see it too. And I'm in my job. Yeah. I'm just glad the camera panned off. Oh, yeah.
Did you ever worry about the fact that some people might be Googling Martin Henderson X? Because that could lead them down a different road.
Yeah, who knows what's going to turn up on the dark web? Who knows?
Were there any reservations about getting your kid off in the film? Because I think everybody's nude at some point or other in this movie.
Yeah, we are all sort of nude. You just sort of. I mean, I'm just getting older, man. That's all. It's just like, oh, really? I gotta stay in shape for this thing. I like the jobs where you keep your kid on. You eat what you want. You don't have to worry about it. So yeah, I feel like the older I get, the more I sort of roll my eyes whenever I read he's in his undies or his shirt comes off. It's like, oh no.
How do you plan for that? Like when this is like it's an odd question, especially if you could see me from down, where I've never had a conversation with a personal trainer, but when you have that and you go like, I need to look like this, and I've got X amount of time to do it. How do you know that they've got the juice to get you where you need to be? Like, how can you trust those guys to do the job?
Well, hopefully you're working with a professional. I've actually never used I've had a trainer before at different times, but that's more for me kind of wanting to get in shape or learn something about health or exercising safely or optimally. But in terms of working on a job, I've actually never had a trainer do that. So I think maybe I don't trust them. I think I can trust myself and my own regimen.
So you just.
I mean, the key is
what you're
try
saying
not
is
to let yourself.
You just look like that naturally. You just like.
No, I don't. No, I don't. What I'm saying is I work out rigorously to look like that. But I do it on my own, I think. But I was going to say the key is to try to ramp up before the movie if you have some time. Otherwise, it's just hard work. So the key is I try to stay in relative shape between jobs, so that if the job requires it, I'm like, okay, I might have to go hard for 6 weeks or something and really watch what I eat and really work out a lot, rather than 3 months of it. Yeah, because it gets boring.
We've probably exploited our time here quite a bit, so I've got 2 more questions for you before we let you run. Firstly, did the fact that you were in New Zealand play any part in you getting the role prior to the film being set down there, or the production being set down there?
I've never had the courage to ask, because I'd like to think I got the film purely on my acting merits. But so I've literally been too scared to ask that question to anyone that could actually answer it accurately. But I don't know. I think when I got involved, the movie had been it was already being shot in New Zealand. So I think they'd already jumped through whatever hoops they needed to in order to ensure it, qualified. And given that the writer, the director, the cinematographer, the producers, all of the cast, bar me, were from America, I think they ticked whatever tax break things they had to, with everyone else being Kiwi. So the whole crew was Kiwi. In fact, they'd all come off working on James Cameron's Avatar for like 3 years in doing all that high-tech green screen stuff. Well, I don't even know if it's green screen. I think now it's like next level, whatever. So they were really relieved to get onto a sort of an old-fashioned movie from a technical standpoint. but so I don't know if me being a Kiwi was an advantage to me getting the job, but the movie being shot in New Zealand was like a carrot on the end of a stick. As soon as I knew that, I was like, I'm going to be in this movie. I just wanted to go home. I haven't worked in New Zealand for a long time, and the pandemic had been raging around the world, and I just, for me, I was going to get this job no matter what.
It's good to be driving on the right side of the road again. Good to have roundabouts.
You mean the left, Ben?
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I just couldn't help it. Absolutely. Oh, having a Milo, having some Vegemite, some Manuka honey, some little things like that just make me happy. I just, it's the little things and the bush and whatnot. I think for me, it's the nature too, like those smells and the sounds of the birds, things that you don't even know you're missing. And then you come home and you're like, sort of speaks to a part of yourself that lies dormant when you're not connected to it.
Yeah. Sam Elliott was pretty angry at Jane Campion for calling New Zealand Montana. He must be really pissed off at you guys.
Yeah, man. He's going to be angry that we made it Texas, I guess. I didn't understand that.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah, I think that's some of the magic of filmmaking, right? Is making things seem something other than what they are, and I think that's what gets people's creative juices flowing. And
I didn't pick it. I didn't pick that it was shot in New Zealand. I thought it was. I didn't know going in that it wasn't shot in Texas. And I've been to New Zealand a couple of times, and I don't know, like the weather that you got while you were shooting there was like absolutely perfect for the kind of film that you were making. I don't know how that happened.
We got lucky. I think we got lucky. I mean, they were smart. We shot it in the middle of New Zealand summer. We sort of shot late Jan, all of Feb, and a little bit of March. So that was clever. I think had we shot anywhere outside of that weather window, we probably would have encountered the grey concrete ceilings that Aotearoa is sometimes renowned for. But yeah, I'm glad you didn't pick it, because obviously I'm hyper aware. There's a scene where Maxine's character is walking down to the lake for the first time, the pond, and she's walking through some sort of bushes. And I, as a Kiwi, I was like, oh, that's definitely New Zealand flora.
Oh, hilarious. Martin, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us. It's been such a thrill, and we love the film a lot.
Oh, thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. I really, and did you see Stephen King came out, I think it was last night, and gave us his endorsement, which is really exciting.
Oh, fantastic.
That's all you need.
So a couple of people would take his word on it, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, take care. Good luck with the rest of it.
All right, boys.
Amazing.
Lovely being the meat in your sandwich.
Tasty.
See ya.
See ya.
Farmer's daughter, take one. I need to be famous, Wayne. All the best people are.
There ain't nobody else out there like you.
You know why?
Why?
Because you got that X Factor. Our days of struggling may soon be over.
Hollywood, here we come.
So this is it. Our own studio backlot.
You looking for a place to stay?
Oh, yes, sir.
That's one ugly son of a bitch. And my wife, Pearl, is next door, so I would appreciate a little discretion.
He don't know what we're doing, does he?
Well, it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Would you like to come inside?
What's obliged?
I want to be in the movie.
Well, you can't. The story can't just change midway through.
If Daddy catches us, there's no telling what he might do.
My wife is not well. It happens after dark.
Maxine? You don't want to leave, do you?
People's eyes are gonna pop out of their damn skulls when they see this. What? Are you alright?
No.
One of the boys found this inside.
What do you think is on it?
I see one goddamn fucked up horror picture.